Autistic games have always been a funny concept to me. I can't really narrow down one specific thing that makes a game an autistic game, but it's so clear to me as a very autistic guy that there's something about them that just reaches out to me. Even so, I never really latched on to Sonic and Splatoon. I tried to, but they just never did it for me. However, I latched hard into Mario. I know it's an incredibly popular series, but I went in much more depth into it than a lot of others would. Especially the 3D platformers. I spent hours running around in the levels in Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine, taking in and exploring every nook and cranny and just being fascinated by it. Your hatred of Sunshine struck me right in my little shine sprite shaped heart, but I understand it's not for everyone. Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 were also amazing and I played through them multiple times, but I don't remember getting to the point where I could memorize every detail in the levels, maybe because those games were more linear. Also back then I mostly played Nintendo 64, banjo-kazooie and Tooie were similar stories to the Mario games, probably because they were similar in being 3D platformer adventure games, but even so with a focus on exploration that I love to do anyway. EK64 as well, but I didn't get as far in it because I kept getting lost, Mao. That game also had some strange design choices. Banjo-Tooie in particular, I remember being obsessed with the atmosphere of the game. Everything in it felt both so vast and filled with life, the interconnected worlds, all the different sections within the worlds, characters and their quests that needed you to do things across multiple of the worlds. I don't know, it all added to a very awe-inspiring experience for young me. I remember seeing the place where the bubble leading to Cuckoo would appear, but without enough jiggies to access it, I ended up recreating all of these ideas in my mind about what that area could lead to, and when I did unlock them, inspired by the purple stone around that area and how the music changed when you go near it, I ended up with this regal purple palace with giant pigeons as the inhabitants. I still remember what I imagined it to look like, despite never writing down or drawing anything about it. Of course, I was still just as blown away when I actually unlocked that area and took the bubble that appeared there in the chaotic mountain above the clouds. But part of me kinda wishes I could have explored the palace I imagined somehow. Anyways, that's my nonsense rant done. I have ADHD too as well, yes, maybe that's part of why I overanalyze simple games rather than going to games with lots of stuff designed to be analyzed. I don't know, anyways, good video. I should read your comment out loud in my next video, Lamau, like it's legit great. Oh, thank you so much. I'd love it if you did that, honestly. So yeah, that's what I did. Thank you for the views, the likes, it's beautiful. Also the subscribers. Either way, I've listened to your feedback, mostly, and I read a very long comment earlier, and because I found it very, very lovely. Unlike that one comment that accused me of being a furry, which I mean, go ahead. I'm not very attracted to furries, not really want a fursona, so might as well talk more in depth about Solatorable. Solatorable has recognizable characters, a very in-depth story, action-packed gameplay. However, the game is very easy, so you can pretty much breeze through it, despite that the title has a lot of content. Like, enough to justify the purchase, or straight up just emulate it if you want to. So I would compare it to watching a season or two of an anime, which honestly, anime has always attracted my autistic brain. It's basically cartoon, but they're able to make even deeper stories somehow. Although it's not always the case, it's more of an art style. Due to that, cartoon stories have eventually evolved thanks to anime. Like, take a look at Steven Universal Healthcare. And it's multiple anime references. Though Solotorobo is mostly a kid-friendly anime, which makes it more accessible than your standard anime. Unless you want anime to be censored like One Piece. The One Piece! The One Piece is real! Can we get much higher? So high! Rawr, 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 rawr. It's also due to that accessibility that I'm willing to complete the entire thing, along with the colorful characters, which makes the entire experience stick in my brain even more. The advantage with furries is that their non-human form allows them to stand out, which makes my autistic brain remember them even more. People can experiment even more with non-human designs, so it's a win-win situation, I think. Apparently some people enjoy making Rule 34 of these designs. So now these designs and everyone else who enjoys them are cringe, apparently. It's like 2016 all over again. But unfortunately, that phenomenon is related to another title that quite has a bit of popularity and infamy. Yeah, Undertale. We need to talk about RPG Maker games first. The thing about the RPG Maker scene is that my autistic ass loved it. Short, yet efficient games that were available for everyone to play. With RPG Maker horror games, you'd get a bunch of unique titles with colorful aesthetics and darker, scarier themes. Honestly, most RPG Maker horror games scare me more than 95% of AAA horror games, due to the mixed media aspect and that these people have no regulation to go by. So in these games, absolutely anything goes. I watched mainly Badass Hero for a while due to these titles, and yes, there is the cool autistic game called Yume Nikki, but we need to talk about Eve. I actually really enjoy going in art galleries, but there's something spooky about them, even more when I'm alone and in contemporary art museums. These aren't exactly regulated neither, so I've seen some horrifying stuff. I'm kinda glad I never went there as a kid, because some of the words describing stuff are complicated. However, my brain has an insatiable curiosity for these galleries. I want to see what sort of horrifying things artists come up with. So, Ebe takes the horror of visiting museums and asks the question, what if the museum was actually dangerous? So Ebe, who is a defenseless little child by the way, has to escape the museum or else her life will come to an halt thanks to these creepy installations. There's also how she isn't old enough to read every single word, so that adds a layer of creepiness to the whole story. I love the story, but since it is an RPG Maker game, the budget is limited and it is quite simple. Still worth it though. So due to the popularity of RPG Maker games, I ended up being sucked in the Tumblr fandoms.
Did you speak to the weasel?
No!
Did you speak to the weasel?
I said no!
Fool, I am the weasel. Charlie, what have you done?
Oh, come on! How could I possibly have known that?
Charlie!
What?
We're naked!
Yay! I expected another cute but creepy game when I watched Manly play Undertale's demo, but it wasn't. It was only when the game was released. Took the time to watch Manly play it. The entire playthrough was great, but we need to talk about the game's autistic aspect, in the pacifist route. The bad route, where you kill every monster, criticizes RPG tropes, but the pacifist route is about the Frisk stumbling to understand the confusing world they got sent into, while trying to be respectful to the monsters, whose culture they don't understand. so the player tries every absurd option, defying any kind of logic. I can relate. There are so many aspects or signs I do not understand. Most of these have been ingrained in our society. Just trying to understand them is incredibly hard to the point where it almost feels just absurd. People can really be obtuse to the point where it's annoying. And simply existing outside home is just bleh. It's all complicated in ways I can't explain. No matter how much I go out, it feels alien. So this is why I could call Undertale an autistic game easily. And why Deltarune isn't. Deltarune is more of a response to Undertale. You're supposed to already be knowing this world, so I'm not sure how to feel about the social anxiety Chris lives through. It feels more like social anxiety teenager simulator rather than anything autistic, despite it taking place in another world. But yeah, everyone is a bunch of teenage losers in a story that's a bit more grounded than Undertale. I still ended up really enjoying it, although it's different. So what else is in the comments section? The three autistic horsemen, Sonic, Rayman, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have this old TMNT comics that mentions the World Trade Center, and I watched an episode of Rise of the TMNT. Aside from that, I mostly played TMNT games, such as the one on NDS, another one on GameCube, as well as the glorious Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time has such a vibe, like its 90s overload, full of stupid, very neat things that straight up define the 90s. That's why I love it. You get the show's experience in a video game. I also played the Metroidvania one and the other beat 'em up on 3DS. I quite enjoy them. There's also this arcade one that replicates the 2000 show experience. I think the old mutant freaks but actually heroes living in the sewers has an autistic vibe to it. Add to that a more fun vibe than the X-Men, since the comics were originally supposed to be parodies of X-Men. And you get the more formulaic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which really doesn't need too much social commentary for whatever the writers come up with every week. I wouldn't mind social commentary being in TMNT, however. Oh, Donnie is autistic now? Good. As for Rayman, I kinda get it for Rayman too. It's dark narrative with some light-hearted moments, as well as the colorful cast of heroes and villains. Or even the plums that you can still ride even in this game for the sheer absurdity. Not everything has to be dark and gloomy, even in dark and gloomy situations. Which is something Rayman 2 does very well writing-wise. Rayman 1 is just a fun vibe with multiple weird environments that clearly came from a French person's mind. I know, I'm French-Canadian. I would describe the software as teehee, I made a 2D platformer in my spare time, like Cave Story or Centipede. Teehee, women have always been in gaming. Always. Teehee. As for Rayman 3, I have criticized it to an extent, but I have found something new to add. Rayman 3 is my try-hard phase. The thing about me of the past is that I was a people pleaser, so I repeated every edgy joke I would see on the internet, thanks to Newgrounds, while also watching Fairly Odd Parents. Every joke in Rayman 3 is so awkward, it reminds me of my 2013 or even 2005 self. It tries so hard to be hip that the writing ends up being autistic. Even Sonic Boom is not that incompetent writing-wise.
It's 2:30 in the afternoon. People are trying to sleep.
This writing is from a bygone era, with Ubisoft's investors not knowing what to do. Screw Rayman 3's writing. The rest of the title is pretty cool though, with a very decent amount of variety and level designs that I actually really like. I actually really enjoyed playing Rayman 3, although I did something else while the cutscenes were there, so whoops. Meanwhile, the rabbits are neat and the UB art games are slapsticky enough to my taste. At this point, any Autistic Rayman game would be appreciated, but I know there's an actual Assassin's Creed fandom out there, so too bad I just don't really care. The first few Assassin's Creed games are all connected lore-wise, so just saying it's kinda mid. I gave up on Assassin's Creed 2 during a jumping minigame because the controls weren't up to par. So, Someone mentioned Little Big Planet being autistic, and I understand how Sackboy's versatility can encourage creativity. There's also how Sackboy's emotions are clear, going from the lowest intensity to the highest, so there is no amount of vagueness about how he is feeling, which is great for my autistic brain. The story is presented in the most direct way possible in a very slapdash approach, as it mostly focuses on the gameplay. There's also the level creation tool, where you can obsess over making the perfect recreation of another game. Too bad you can't share levels anymore. It's like making the Enterprise ship in Minecraft. The time I spend playing Little Big Planet with friends is nothing compared to Dreams. Dreams basically allows you to create your own game and dive into pointless rabbit holes full of dreams that are either unfinished or very complete and polished. I talked about my obsession with rabbit holes and my autistic butt who loves digging through them. Whenever I discover a game, I try doing research on its creators, even more when it's on itch.io. So Dreams being free allows me to experience all of its content. I haven't played recently, but this is the best PS4 game to me. Even its base content is impressive, especially since people are complaining games are too long now. There's also a certain amount of mysteriousness to the Void of Dreams, to the point that barely anyone are covering them. Hence why I want to explore the unexplored and discover what is up with these mysterious games, even though some of them became lost to time. Like, look at Gloria's Adventure, which I uploaded a full playthrough of on my channel. A pretty odd situation, actually. Like, there was also a Sonic X Dream, which was a remake of Sonic Extreme, which I can no longer find, but the kind of games I love the most are horror. Horror titles are often simple, quick, or experimental in Dreams. It has become an Halloween tradition for me to play Dreams horror titles in October. It's just that I played so many Dreams that I want to play something else, and I'm mostly prioritizing the Switch right now. There are also no longer any updates because the game wasn't a success. My theory is that Sony saw the copyrighted content and that one time Nintendo ordered a cease and desist against that Mario model in Dreams, only to be like, I'm out of here! But Media Molecule did not care, so Sony was like, it'd be a shame if your studio closed right now, so no more updates, but Dreams live still on in my heart. There's also how Sonic fan games are pretty popular on this platform, as are 3D platformers. My childhood! Even the ones that are unpolished make me want to explore its limits. Oftentimes, the 3D platformers in Dreams scratch my itch in ways that even AAA games have a hard time doing so. Just like Little Big Planet or Sonic Adventure, controls are a bit floaty. That paired with the fluffy visuals give me motivation to enter these dreams. So Dreams is great for my autism. What else was mentioned? Drakengard? No, that would open a gateway to demo discs. Wario? Wario? Wow! There was a point in history where people thought Waluigi was the funniest thing ever. But then there was a report of Waluigi's fans sending a certain type of threat to Masahiro Sakurai. From what I've heard, it was a bunch of offensive memes. Nevertheless, it affected the Waluigi fandom to become quieter. Then Pizza Tower happened, Warrior car crash videos happened, Mario 64 personalized, greatest achievement?
Oh, yeah, it's one of my greatest achievements, the Virtual Boy. Ultimate classic shit.
And now Wario is dancing on Waluigi in a coma. Sad. Despite that, the only Wario games he is getting are WarioWare, which I love, but I'd like to see the Wario Land series come back. That is, despite my dislike for the escape sequences, which are discussed in this Game Boy Advance video. I would not be surprised if Nintendo could make them more accessible. The Wario Land titles are very interesting, since they were getting you to explore everything and focuses on letting the player 100% the game. So diving in this rabbit hole that wants you to understand, it feels appealing to my autism. Wario Land 3 is a special case, since it wants the player to explore absolutely everything by using the day-night cycle as well as the power-ups that you can use. It even wants you to backtrack to previous level to progress. It's not Balan Wonderworld level of backtracking, but it's still backtracking. I guess Wario Land is the precursor to Mario 64's Collectathon Origins. As for WarioWare, I say it's more of a think fast type of game. The cutscenes for each character are slow-paced enough, but the comedy makes me smile overall. That's kind of it. The comedy does not make me laugh out loud too often, but it at least makes me smile. The humor is clear and autistic enough to be charming, thanks to the localization paired with the visuals. I also enjoy the gadgets, which are pretty much pointless toys. Pointless STEM toys! Oh ho 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 ho! Just blowing into the DS microphone or any other kind of diversion is beautiful. Clearly takes the Nintendo experimental approach and runs with it. The micro games are way ahead of their time. In an era where YouTube editing is super fast-paced, WarioWare can please anyone that has the attention span of a goldfish. Fast, fun, and stupid. In contrast very well with the cutscene, that the cutscenes become sort of a reward, a breather for all of the efforts that you have done. I think the contrast between overflowing emotions, breakcore, everything, and then calm fun is hella autistic. But oh god, it's been 10 days yet. There are so many suggestions I have. Maybe Autism 3 will be longer. So last batch of games? B-mod games. Oh, there clearly was something appealing about Newgrounds. The moronic flash-style animations that push the limits of good taste, that all just existed for Edge. Most of them haven't aged well, to the point where I'm just embarrassed thinking about them, and watching them is even worse. But on the opposite end, we got Flash games. Some of them have aged super well. One of them includes Alien Hominid. The game has a very Flash-based style that would probably belong in a badly drawn webcomic. Alien Hominid's slapstick humor gave it a lot of personality, hence why my autistic mind can instantly remember it. Combining the aesthetics of Flash cartoons with video games is a winning recipe for an autistic cake. Astal Crashers also use this style in a very effective way, so that the characters can look more expressive to match with the more omnipresent humor. Flash titles have started going out of style during that era, to the point where I stopped using Newgrounds to go watch some YouTube content.
I do have an up-top. And up-top's pretty straight baller.
Remember Nuptup? I do. Thankfully, BattleBlock Theater still stood out well enough thanks to its incredible narrator commenting very well the gameplay. It's not as mind-blowing as Bastion or the Stanley Parent Bowl, but it's funny. This was the Rick and Morty. Oh my god, Morty, what a Morty. Oh Rick, what are you doing, Rick? We are in an autistic video, Morty. Oh jeez, oh man, oh jeez, oh man. Era of cartoons as well as YouTube content. So BattleBlock Theater fueled my brain in that same way. I also read Deadpool comics, so it makes sense that I enjoyed that. Still haven't watched the movies though. So this is as much content I can give you right now. Maybe I'll try taking a month to make a video about autistic games next, but first I want to talk about Sony and masculinity. So we'll see about that. Thank you for watching and please like, comment and subscribe. Bye bye!